I call Jonathan Young.
Thank you, sir. Well, just to colour in perhaps the historic picture that the previous speaker, Mr. Little, spoke about, when he referred to, for example, the global financial crisis and the effect that may have had in creating the $4.2 billion hole. The other side of that story, sir, is that under Labor, the cost of claims increased by 57% in 4 years. And so there was an opening up of the floodgates of people who came and used that scheme. It was used as a welfare program rather than an insurance scheme. That's what happened, sir, and that was what contributed largely to the hole that we inherited as a government. Sir, if we can do all that Mr. Little says that we can do right now, why is it that voices out there in the business community are saying that this piece of legislation will become a breakthrough for ACC in this country? Let me just read out a quote from the Chief Executive of Business New Zealand, Phil O'Reilly, who said, while Business New Zealand welcomes the $500 million proposed cuts in premiums to be announced in the budget 2015, which is positive for businesses, employees and motor vehicle owners, the more important issue is the proposed new ACC Financial Responsibility and Transparency Amendment Bill. This will ensure levies reflect sound insurance principles. There it is. Not welfare, sound insurance principles, and is a major breakthrough. So if we could always do what Mr. Little said we can do, why is it that people who look from outside in the business world into what happens here in the House of Parliament and look at legislature call it a major breakthrough? Because now ACC levies will reflect sound insurance principles. So while, yes, we know that the ACC fund can be at times affected by what is happening out there in the equity world, we also know, sir, that there need to be strong principles in order to bring stability to that fund. So he went on to say, Business New Zealand hopes the bill will receive cross-party support as it proceeds through Parliament to ensure the public has faith in the principles of the ACC scheme. And I believe everyone in this House, we believe that ACC is a good thing. And sir, in order to ensure that it is stable and continues to offer New Zealanders what it intends to offer in the future, it's important to have stability around that fund. And, you know, we know that immediately what would have happened if Labor had been in power, yes, they would have taken $350 million out of the levies. And sir, we know that that sort of short-term pay-as-you-go attitude actually is going to contribute to instability. It's important, sir, for us to have a long-term view so that we can take an actuarial approach to ACC. So we know, and some members on the opposite side know, that when ACC came to the Transport and Industrial Relations Committee at the beginning of this year to do their annual review, as they discussed their equity position, they said it worsened. It worsened from negative $108 million on the 30th of June 2014 to negative $600 million by the 31st of December 2014. And in January this year, for reasons beyond ACC's control, the asset base diminished by $4 billion and then bounced back by $2 billion in February. You see, short-term volatility exists around the assets of ACC. And, you know, and we are very thankful for the fine managers of that fund, because they work hard for the benefit and interest of all New Zealanders. But we understand that even beyond global financial crisis, there are factors which affect this fund. And therefore, we need to take a prudent, careful, yes, a transparent, but stable approach to how we manage and set those levies. It's very important, sir. So due to short-term volatility in both the asset value and the outstanding claims liability, the government's approach is that a longer view is essential when it comes to levy setting. This is what this bill is about. And, sir, it's good to hear people like Phil O'Reilly who understand that and calls this bill a major breakthrough. Sir, if I could also read out, sir, what EMA, Employers Manufacturing Association CEO Kim Campbell says. He says $500 million reduction over 2 years comes at the right time, following ACC's sound financial performance and the solid footing which has the scheme now fully funded. He says, we also like the fact that there will be more transparent levy setting in the future and the Minister's assurance around more stable levies in the future. And, sir, let me just read, his shout out to the Minister. We are also pleased to see that as a new Minister to the ACC portfolio, the Honourable Nikki Kaye has quickly come to terms with the issues and made such a positive step in the proposed ACC Financial Responsibility and Transparency Amendment Bill. You know, that's worth saying as well, sir. And I think that we are pleased to see that the way the Minister is very ably handling a very complex portfolio. I think it's good, sir, for all of New Zealanders. Sir, I believe that there are many components around that which makes ACC stable and strong. Sir, when the cost of claims increases by 57% in 4 years, you wonder how much sicker and how many more injuries we've had over that period of time. Sir, and how many more accidents have occurred in our country. And so I think at that point in time, Labor lost AC's proper focus of getting claimants back to independence. Independence, sir, which they deserve. There seemed to be such a huge flow of increased claims. And, sir, I believe that over that period of time, ACC suffered a $7.2 billion loss in 2 years. And levy setting was divorced from the reality of ACC's burgeoning costs. At that point, ACC's long-term liabilities over that period of time increased by $15 billion. Yes, and it was hard work, and yes, it was at times controversial, but getting this scheme back into the strength that it presently has is very, very important for what it offers New Zealanders. It is a 24-hour no-fault scheme, sir, that is the envy of many countries of the world. And, sir, it's important for us really to have cross-party work on this because it's such an important scheme for New Zealanders. Sir, as a way of background, in 1999, ACC moved to a system of fully funding the lifetime costs of an injury claim. Before this, levies covered only the current costs of a claim. That is, the government looked at the current costs to ACC and set the levy to meet those costs as they currently occurred. What this scheme now offers is an ability to fund a person for the entirety and of their claim. Sir, there are residual levies that are paid because of those claims that happened prior to 1999. But, sir, as those claims are finally paid out, there is obviously not a need for those residual levies. And what this bill does, sir, is enable for the timing around the cessation of that to be determined closer to the mark when we come to that point. So I've got to say one more thing before I finish my speech. You know, next month, New Zealanders are going to see a significant reduction in the registration costs of their vehicles. I had a look at mine today, sir. I have to say it's the oldest car in my street, but, sir, it's a good old car, a 2006 Holden Calais, and my registration's going to reduce by 50%. Isn't that fantastic, sir? That this government has got ACC under control, fully funded, strong and stable, that people right across our country are going to receive the benefit of that in their back pocket. I'm very happy, sir, to commend this bill to the House.